Scott's Brunch here with Doug Upstone. We are DocSports.com. It is SEC Weekly. 3 SEC games per week we talk about on these videos. We got 2 more, so check them out after you get done watching our South Carolina Georgia Bulldogs take. Georgia, 31.5, 32-point favorite as we speak. Total in the high 40s, around 48. Interesting here, though. Bulldogs quarterback JT Daniels, questionable. He's got the oblique issue. Doug Stetson Bennett played extremely well in his place, but Bennett is injured. He's listed as questionable, too. They're a little banged up at wide receiver. So I do think we'll see some Georgia ground and pound in this one. But how interesting is that your top 2 quarterbacks are questionable, and in conference and not against Vanderbilt, you're laying 32 points.
That is just nuts, when you consider. But, last week, Scott, I watched the entire South Carolina game against East Carolina, and I was not impressed. They won and covered, very late, but they won and covered last week, and I actually was on them, so that's why I watched the whole game. But they were not impressive, and clearly the odds makers feel exactly the same way based on this point spread with this team. The Gamecocks, their defense actually is not half bad, especially they have some good pass rushers and some guys who can stop the run. Their linebackers, like all SEC linebackers, can run, but they do have some secondary issues. And the one thing I noticed is that they had a lot of problems with crossing routes or in-cut routes that were in the 7 to 15-yard range. And because of some of the size that Georgia has at wide receiver, whoever plays quarterback, I think should have some success, getting rid of the ball, moving the ball that way. And as you say, the ability to run the ball also, I think, will be a big factor. UAB was in some circles given, a fairly decent chance last week to, possibly cover, figuring Georgia would be flat. Well, guess what? That wasn't close. In fact, it wasn't even close after about 15 minutes. So, Kirby Smart's team, my thought going into the season was this team is loaded and ready to go. And so far, that has been exactly the case with this team. This is a confident group. I think that's ready to go. I looked at the total of 48, as you mentioned, and the thing, I was trying to figure out the side in the total because 32 is such a big number, 31.5. Sure. So I looked at the total, and, it just seems right that there's 5 minutes to go, the score is at 45, and somebody scores a touchdown, okay? So I'm going to pass on the total altogether, because that's just a backdoor to me waiting to happen. And so I'm going to go with what I'd like to call a want-to game. And in this case, if Georgia wants to cover, they will. Okay, and I think they actually will, because I think South Carolina is just talent-wise is just not even in the same league, and the Bulldogs, they're 10-2 against the spread after leading their previous game by more than 17 or more points at the half. So I'm going to just lean, and I mean a small lean with Georgia on this one. With the idea, though, and you mentioned this in one of the videos we also did this week, I'm going to be looking at what's going to happen here for the second half. And if Georgia just has let's just call it a smallish lead, and you can pick up Georgia for minus 20 or less in the second half, I think that's the bet. Okay, that's probably the best bet if that situation occurs. So that's what I'm on, Scott. What are you on for this one?
Yeah, good stuff. Listen, I had South Carolina like you did last week. I had them as a free play and a personal bet. And like you, I wasn't impressed at all. I was doing one of these when they were able to cover the spread. We got that free play out there early in the week, and so they were laying less than 3 at the time. But listen, man, I didn't like the look of this offense at all. Well, they had 15 first downs total against East Carolina, 320 yards. They gave up 3 sacks to the Pirates, more hurries. I know this number is big. And again, I know that you got a couple of quarterbacks who one of them is going to play and they're not going to be 100%, no likelihood. I just think over the course of this game, they just ground and pound, wear this team down, short passes for whoever's quarterbacking the Georgia Bulldogs that are probably turned into bigger gains than they should against the Gamecocks defense. I think Georgia scores 34 to 37 points. I don't know that South Carolina can score more than a field goal or 2. So I am going to lean under. And as far as the side is concerned, just an ever so slight lean on Georgia. I think what you said, Doug, is something to watch. This could be very good for second half betting, depending on how this game flows in that first 2 quarters. Listen, Doug Upstone has a big weekend going, as do I. Check us both out on our home pages at DocSports.com, college football, NFL. And don't forget about that $60 free account. You see it at the top of your page. All you got to do is go down below this video, click on the link, and you'll be able to set yourself up for a free $60 account. If you're not yet a member at DocSports.com, it allows you to give us a try, and you'll be able to use those free $60 on any of Doug's plays, daily packages, any of my daily packages, or anyone else on the roster at DocSports.com. All right, there's your thoughts on South Carolina, Georgia. Listen, we've also talked about Alabama, Florida. We've got 3 videos in all the SEC for this week, so check them all out. We do appreciate those of you who do so each and every week. For Doug, I'm Scott. We are DocSports.com. Let's put them in the win column.